And we kick off this evening with a look at the cinema.
I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema.
It's beautiful, beautiful cinema.
Cinema history come to life.
I found my solace in the small cinema I went to every Thursday night.
I'm a professor of cinema.
I go to the cinema for the stories.
There was no competition between the cinema and seminar.
I mean, it's not within the realm of conventional cinema.
And now,
here's Pace and Johnson
with a cinema review.
What is going on? It is Monday, September 15th, 2025, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Cinemaster's Reviews. I'm your host, Pace, the Cinemaster Johnson. We have an exciting show tonight. We are reviewing two movies, The Long Walk, as well as Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. Sorry for not having a show last week. I just had some family stuff going on. Real quick, I'm just going to see if I can fix my camera, because I am very, very close to the screen. Let me see what that does. 1 second. Okay, yeah, that is a lot better. Just didn't want to do my review just super cramped to the screen like that. Welcome, everyone. I say we jump right into our show, starting with our first review of the night, that being The Long Walk, directed by Francis Lawrence. This is an adaptation of a Stephen King novella. It is centered in a sort of like dystopian, a dystopian world where many of the world is sort of living in poverty, and there is this sort of like, not necessarily yearly game, but like sort of like semi-yearly event where a bunch of teenagers are grouped up together, and they are essentially told, hey, 30 of you are going to start walking. You do not stop walking. If you stop walking, you die, or we are going to kill you. And if you make it to the end, you get $100 million and you get one wish. We are following this kid played by Cooper Hoffman. We learned that his dad has abandoned him, and he's living with his single mother played by Judy Greer. And he's trying to win the long walk because he wants the money, and he wants to give a wish, essentially. During the walk, he meets many other characters. David Johnson plays the character of Pete. There's another character played by Ben Wang, and they're essentially just trying to walk and avoid the wrath of the Major, played by Mark Hamill. I feel like saying I like Stephen King adaptations sort of is kind of redundant, because there are so many and they range in quality. So like you never really quite know what you're gonna get, because you can get something as silly as something like Dreamcatcher, and as good or as horrific as something like The Shining or like Misery, or even something as thoughtful as something like The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. The Long Walk, as you probably heard that premise, you're probably like, how much can they really get out of making just this, just watching these characters just walk for miles and miles on end? How thrilling can that really be? And I will say it, Francis Lawrence does a really great job of making this premise really thrilling and just sort of like tense, watching as these characters just walk from one point to not necessarily another point, because as you learn early on in the film, there is no finish line. You go until the characters cannot walk anymore, and there's only one standing. And the movie does a really good job at keeping you engaged and entertained through that. There are so many times where certain obstacles will happen, where the characters will run into a hill at night, or what happens when a character has to go to the bathroom. Can they because they can't stop. You learn, movie establishes early on in the film the characters can get 3 warnings, and then they are shot. If you walk for an hour after your warning, you essentially walk off your warning, and that is sort of how some characters sort of stumble. If you stumble over your feet and trip, that's an immediate warning. Essentially, the second you fall over, or the second you stop walking, you probably have maybe 30 seconds before you get shot. If you try to escape, you are immediately shot. The movie gets a lot of really thrilling scenes out of just watching these characters just get more tired and tired as the film starts going on. I think the thing that also holds this movie together is the cast is really, really spectacular. Cooper Hoffman is someone I've loved since his debut performance in Licorice Pizza. I think most people know how much I love that movie. I think he was just this revelation of someone that obviously has a lot to live up to with his dad, but I think he is starting to cement his own legacy with this movie, Saturday Night, and Licorice Pizza. This character is someone that keeps a lot close to his chest, but I think Cooper Hoffman is really great at just playing this character with like wide eyes, not necessarily optimism, but he wants every single character around to succeed. Like he does great as whenever characters start dying, he's really good at just playing the pain and the shock of like, can I keep doing this? Can I keep going? And when Raymond starts to get more and more tired, I think Cooper Hoffman does a great job of just playing exasperated. So he is really, really good. But easily the highlight of this movie is David Johnson, who plays Pete. The second Pete and Raymond meet, they immediately hit it off. They sort of like bust each other's balls in a really fun way, and they immediately form a friendship. Like, hey, if one of us isn't gonna win it, I want it to be the other one. And he's cocky throughout most of the movie, playing this person that's like, it's no big deal. I can walk throughout this whole thing. Second we meet him, you see how muscular this character is, and you see like, okay, this sort of like test of endurance is going to be favoring someone like Pete. And David Johnson's just super entertaining. All the emotional moments when you start learning more about his character and why he is the one walking, he is able to sell those moments really, really well. And towards the end of the film, where we are getting down towards just a few more surviving contestants, and you start to see everything starting to essentially starting to weigh down on him. Like, can I do this? Can I actually make it through? And just all the emotions that David Johnson is able to play is just so spectacular. He's an actor I really loved last year at Alien Covenant. I think he was the highlight of that movie. And watching this movie and Alien Covenant, I think David Johnson is going to be someone that we are going to be talking about for a long, long time, as he is such a talented actor. Mark Hamill feels perfectly cast as just this like awful, no nonsense villain that just gives the characters all these military orders. Doesn't have any real like change of his voice. Like, Mark Hamill is someone trying to be try not to be too rude here. I don't think Mark Hamill is an amazing actor. He's obviously an icon playing Luke Skywalker, but he really only has like a few notes. He's so good here, where Francis Lawrence essentially, you can tell, just told him, hey, play this character that just does not take any bull crap from anyone. And he is so good in these scenes where he's just barking commands. There are a few scenes where the character starts swearing at him and start insulting him, and he just starts cheering them on, like, yeah, that's the spirit. Show your fortitude here. And you can just tell he's having so much fun in this role. And casting him, I think, was a really, really unique choice. Mark Hamill having a really solid year, because I thought he was really good here. And he was really good earlier in The Life of Chuck, which I believe is also another Stephen King adaptation. So, if you're making a Stephen King adaptation, maybe find a place for Mark Hamill, because he can probably serve it pretty well. The only actor I didn't think was that great was Charlie Plummer, who plays Barkovich. The second we meet Barkovich, obviously with all these characters, a bunch of them are going to be playing different archetypes. There's this one character who's very nerdy, and he wants to essentially win the long walk to write a book on it, on what it's like. Barkovich is essentially like the douchey character who's always trying to annoy everyone around him. And I think that character is totally fine. I think having a character like that adds stakes in this movie, because he is someone that very clearly thinks that he can just sort of get into everyone's head and whittle them down and make them mess up to make them stop walking. But I think something unique about the character is the second that someone dies that he was responsible for, this facade completely breaks, and you can tell he's dealing with a lot of just like pent up anger. I just think Charlie Plummer is maybe just playing this character a little bit too over the top. Like, whenever he starts shouting, I just found it super whiny and super annoying. And coupled with that, with like a lot of the dialogue feels like Stephen King written words, where everything seems a little bit like in another world. I just don't think Charlie Plummer quite had the talent to make it like really connect and really work, which sucks, because I think every other actor was really, really good. Ben Wang, you probably saw him earlier this year in Karate Kid Legends. I think he's very good here. He's someone that starts out super confident, and slowly as the movie gets on, you just see him just start to get whittled down and destroyed, but everyone likes him. They want him to succeed. So yeah, I think the reason why Charlie Plummer sticks out so much is because everyone else in the cast just feels so good. Is just doing their part so well. something I do just love about this movie is the system it sets up with it starting at 30. Just watching just every time we pan out to see all of the kids walking and just how many are left, you slowly start to see, like, calculate the runtime of the movie by seeing how many teens are still going. Like, you start at 30, then you start seeing, okay, then now we're down to 20, now we're down to 18, now we're down to 15, now we're down to 10, and just slowly watching the cast get smaller and smaller. Like, you see most of the deaths. I feel like the majority of them are shown. There are sometimes chunks where, like, multiple characters will die, like, really, really quickly. But I think the movie does a really unique and tells a story in an engaging way by showing how each character gets out, where it's not just because, oh, they get tired, so they have to stop walking. No, there are so many other ways that these characters start to dwindle down and start to make mistakes where the army ends up killing them. I wish I cared for the motivations of why the characters are walking a little bit more than what they give. Like, some characters are like, I'm going to use this money to open a restaurant, or I'm going to use this money to pay for my family's surgery, and I wish I was a little bit more invested in that. Like, I do like these characters, and I can tell you very specifically, like, what all their traits were, but surprisingly, you would think why the characters are in the long walk would be a little bit more engaging. And I just never really, like, that was never an element that I really cared about too much. Now, there's an observation by David Johnson's character that he makes about why everyone might be doing the long walk, which I think is a very, very unique idea, especially in a dystopian, post-apocalyptic society like this one. But yeah, I did wish the movie gave you a little bit more reason as to why these characters are in the long walk, because aside from Raymond, who you completely understand why he decided to risk his life and wants the money and what he's going to do with that wish, everyone else is just sort of like, okay, I feel like I've seen this type of thing before. The other major downside of the movie, I do feel, I do like this movie. I feel like I would like it a lot more if it stuck the landing on the ending. Without spoiling, the motivations for the characters are set up probably around halfway through, and the second when you see who wins, you know exactly what's going to happen. It feels so like so anticlimactic, because in no way do you feel like because for a movie like this where you're really wondering what's going to happen, the fact that the most predictable thing happens, I think that was a little bit unsatisfying. And again, without spoiling, a character does something that in no way would they be able to get away with, and it feels like the movie was just giving a little bit too many conveniences where it wanted the characters to do what their goals were while also not suffering the consequences. And I feel like that is just a little bit that is just kind of a case of lazy writing. And I wish Francis Lawrence and the writer J.T. Molnar would have found a more unique way to end this film. Stephen King adaptations are often criticized for the endings, and I think this is just another one where I just don't think the ending really comes together all that well. One element I do want to say this movie really does nail down is the score by Jeremiah Freites is heart-pounding, to say the least. With a movie where it is all about you're just watching these characters really just do one action and go through many different emotions of that, you need a score that is going to be able to keep your attention and move frenetically through the sounds. And Jeremiah Freites does a great job of making the score very quiet at points, but also making it very heart-pounding at points. When you get towards the end, it feels like it's just booming in your ears with how emotional it's getting, while also never feeling like it's like enveloping or taking over the scene. So yeah, the score is a big reason why this movie is so investing, and I think Jeremiah Freites does a great job. There's no way it's going to get an Oscar nomination, but if I were to make a ballot, like, there's a good chance this would make a best original. This would get a best original score nomination for me, because I think the music is absolutely incredible. But yeah, that's just about it on The Long Walk. If I were to rate this movie on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, 0 being excellent, 0 being awful, 10 being excellent, I'm going to give this movie a solid 7 out of 10. This is very much a concept movie. Like, you hear a bunch of characters are walking until they can't, and if they stop, they die. There's only one winner. That's obviously a very simple concept. Movie does a lot with it. The cast is very, very good. Again, I wish the ending was better, and I wish some characters just had a little bit more motivations fleshed out. But when the direction is this good and when the performances are this excellent from Cooper Hoffman, Mark Hamill, and especially David Johnson, I can't complain too much. If you have the time, I would recommend seeing this in theaters, specifically probably on like more matinee. But yeah, when this movie comes to streaming or when it comes to DVD, absolutely go check it out because I do think you will have a very thrilling time watching The Long Walk. But I see we jump right into our second review of the night, that being Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, directed by Rob Reiner. This is, of course, the sequel to Rob Reiner's directorial debut. This is Spinal Tap. Rob Reiner, of course, directed this Spinal Tap, among other things. Also directed Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally. Went on one of the greatest runs, I think, in director history. Misery, he directed Misery. And then just sort of post-American President, hasn't really made anything substantial within the past. Hasn't really made anything like really great in the past like 30 years, and hasn't even made a movie that like really captured an audience in like the past 15 years. But he is now making a legacy sequel to This Is Spinal Tap, where it is picking up 40 years later after the original film. If you haven't seen This Is Spinal Tap, it is a mockumentary about a fictional band in the 80s. It's very much like a like fun hair, like it is very much styled in the hair metal way. I think if I were to compare it to a band at the time, I think it would be probably, you can compare it to the exploits of Led Zeppelin, but it's very much ripping on like the Van Halens of the time, the Def Leppards of the time. And after that movie, we essentially see that Spinal Tap is not in the best point in their career, but they're still touring. And when this movie picks up, Spinal Tap is a band that's not performed in 15 years, and they are getting together to do a reunion concert and see if they can capture that glory once again. The members of Spinal Tap, played by Christopher Guest, who went on to direct many other mockumentaries like Best in Show and Waiting for Guffman, Michael McKean, you probably know from Better Call Saul, and Harry Shearer. Of course, they don't have a drummer because running joke in the original This Is Spinal Tap is all the drummers just somehow end up randomly dying, whether it's spontaneously combusting, whether it's getting eaten by an animal, just something unfortunate always happens to the drummers. This Is Spinal Tap is one of my favorite comedies of all time. I love the dry sense of humor is able to envelop. I love that it kind of like sort of created the mockumentary style genre. If you've seen What We Do in the Shadows, if you've seen any of those other movies I mentioned, if you've watched The Office or Parks and Rec, they owe a lot to This Is Spinal Tap. Like some of the like funniest scenes in movie history are from that movie. I was unsure if this movie was going to be able to capture that same magic as This Is Spinal Tap, and I think the short answer is it doesn't, but I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it. The humor of Spinal Tap 2, it's incredibly light, and like the first movie, it's incredibly dry, where you're not really having characters like, say, like, I think humor comes from how ridiculous the scenarios these characters put themselves in, instead of just like, these characters are really like creating like these really funny, saying these really funny things. I think it comes a lot from the situations they're in, from their just mannerisms, and well, I don't think any of them are really like laugh out loud. I don't think there are any like full on classic bits in this movie, with the exception of one, which I'll talk about later. The movie does make me chuckle and giggle enough where I can't say I disliked it. Christopher Guest's character Nigel, when we meet him, he is now he opened up a cheese restaurant, a cheese shop with his wife, where him and his wife just sell cheese in a English village. Michael McKean's character is starting a true crime podcast. Harry Shearer opened up a glue museum, and when the documentarian played by Rob Reiner gets them together to essentially film the reunion concert. Fairly funny bit with Harry Shearer and the glue in his nose. You can probably guess where that's going to go. One of the people that is putting together the concert, essentially, everyone keeps telling them, like, does Spinal Tap sound the same? And he's like, I'll be honest, I don't understand music. Like, I just can't sing anything. That I don't even know whether they're good or not, but I'm a successful producer, so they should be okay. But yeah, nothing amazing, but there are enough funny bits where I can't say I hated it. There are some very funny cameos, and probably the one scene that made me laugh out loud involves one of those cameos. Paul McCartney is in this movie. Questlove is in this movie, if you saw the trailer. When they're getting together drummers, they call the drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they say, hey, would you be interested to fill in as a drummer for Spinal Tap? And he says, yeah, I'm going to be busy, but I know one drummer that should be open, and I think he'd be open to take the risk of dying, if you will. And without spoiling who it is, when you see who it is, it made me die of laughter, because if you know music, you know the reputation of this guy. And yeah, that joke was really, really funny. The three leads of Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer, they're once again just really, really entertaining, and just able to make the most of like just these small little jokes. Like in the original movie, the characters of Nigel and I believe Harry is Michael McKean's character. I should look that up, but they go into they get at odds once again. And you're wondering, like, okay, are they going to be able to put their differences aside to perform the concert, to do everything? Doesn't take itself too seriously. David is the name of Michael McKean's character. My apologies. They get a new drummer by the name of Dee Dee, played by Valerie Franco. I thought she was a lot of fun. You can tell she's just having the time of her life in this movie, where she just plays this really optimistic, just super excited to be playing with Spinal Tap. She's just like, yeah, my parents loved you. Can't wait to play with you guys, and has no fear of the fact that like that they've had like 6 drummers and they've all died. And yeah, a lot of funny stuff there. I think I would have liked the movie better if it would have kept the lo-fi mockumentary style of the original movie. Like, and the fun part about this is Spinal Tap is like it's full on shot like a documentary. Like you could show it to someone and that and tell them like, hey, this is a documentary about a real band, and they probably wouldn't know it's a full on comedy until like 30 minutes in, because it just seems like a group of eccentric guys with the quality of the filmmaking. Like it feels like a really like gritty documentary. This one, it is once again shot like a mockumentary, but it feels like it's shot like your normal studio comedy, where it feels very polished, feels very clean. And I would have liked it if it would have gone back to the like grimy, dirty feeling that This Is Spinal Tap had. If I were to say any other major negatives, I think the timing of the jokes just feels like a little off. Like none of the jokes are really like not that I can remember, like none of the jokes I was like, oh, that was really awful, but like but again, like none of the jokes were really like laugh out loud, gut busting funny, again, aside from one cameo which I don't want to spoil. And I think it just comes down to, I think the timing was just a little off, because and This Is Spinal Tap, the timing of all the humor just really it really accentuates how dry that humor is. I just think this one just felt like it was trying to be a little bit too modernized, and I think that just sort of played a little bit against it. But again, I still did laugh throughout the movie, and I've always said, if you're making a comedy, if you're able to make me laugh, that is always something that can go a long way. And this is one that does, so I can't really say I really disliked it. It like the original, it is less than 90 minutes, and it feels super breezy. The ending almost comes a little bit too out of nowhere. Like, something I love about the first movie is it ends on such a high note with the band playing in this huge concert in Japan. This one ends on maybe like the driest of notes ever, and I'm not gonna lie, I did chuckle at that, but I was just a little shocked of like, oh, we're ending right now. Stay through the credits on this one, because you do a lot of jokes in the credits. But yeah, I was just a little bit shocked when it did end. But yeah, I think this was a fairly harmless film that could have been a lot worse. If I were to rate it on a scale of 0 to 10 videotapes, I'm going to give it a 6. I think I can barely say this movie passes for me. Honestly, it probably should be lower, but I just love these characters so much that I can't help but just chuckle a lot with the movie. And again, nothing in it is really inherently bad, so I would have to say I do recommend it. This is not one you probably have to go out and rush to theater unless you are just such a fan of that first one like me, in which case you will probably find some humorous things. But yeah, Spinal Tap 2, not great, but could have been worse. Put that on a poster. But thank you all for watching this week. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the video store. It helps grow our channel a lot. Next week, I'm going to be reviewing Him, the new football horror movie produced by Jordan Peele. I was about to say directed. It is not directed by Jordan Peele. As well as A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, which is directed by Kogonada of After Yang and Columbus fame. Super excited for next week. Remember to like this video and subscribe to the video store. And as always, watch more movies.
And the award for most vapid film review of the century goes to...
Okay, movie review. Okay, I thought it was beauty.
And he's now in cinema hell, where one day we'll all be reunited.
This is me at the Regal Cinema crying as I did through much of the film.